Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talks with the Docs for this month of September. Today, we're going to go over a little bit about what the fall element is, and we're also going to talk about the autumn equinox, what the autumn equinox presents and how you can incorporate that into your life, how autumn is important to reflect on what's already happened for the year and what's to come for the rest of the fall season. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what fall means for Chinese medicine, some practices and foods that you can eat at home, acupuncture points to take it home to treat yourself through this fall allergy season. So as you guys all know, my name is Dr. Kelsey. I am the chiropractor at Sacred Chiropractic plus Acupuncture here in Kansas City. And this is Dr. Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen Williams. I'm the acupuncturist here at Sacred Spa and Wellness in Schuylerville, New York.
Yes.
Happy autumn. Soon to be autumn.
Yes, happy fall. Welcome everybody that is watching. So today I'm going to go first actually, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about autumn, and I'm going to primarily use this book. So this is going to also be emailed out if you're on our email list on the name of it, but if you're not on our email list and you're just finding this on YouTube, it's called The Spirit Almanac, a modern guide to ancient self-care. It is by Emma Lowe and Lindsay Kellner. For those of you that, if you like this book, you like what I say today, and you want kind of like a, I don't know, like a refresher, you want to own it yourself, that is who this book is by. It's a lovely book, especially if you're just starting out in like kind of what the moons mean and what different energies mean and different terms and that sort of thing. It's definitely a really good beginner's guide. So as we're talking about today, we're talking about the fall. So as you can imagine, the sun is getting shorter and shorter and shorter in the sky as we see it. And so the autumn equinox is actually the time of the year when the light and the darkness are equal. And so that means you're going to have an equal amount of yin and an equal amount of yang. You're in this transition stage right now, especially on the autumn equinox, where you're transitioning from being more active, you're being outdoors, you're seeing a lot of people, you're doing a lot of events, to then now we're headed into the winter months. And so it's very important this time of year to kind of reflect on what this year has brought you. It's important to see, like, what were your goals in January? Are those still your goals? Have they changed? Have you reached those goals and succeeded past them? You know, it's a great time to kind of bring yourself back center and kind of reflect upon what has happened this summer. This is a great time to also acknowledge the fruits of your labor. So this is the time where harvest is happening naturally. People are out, you know, their gardens are going crazy. You can see the farmers in the fields. We have a lot of silage going on around here. So, you know, you're just like, everybody is harvesting the reaping the benefits of what they've sowed from earlier in the year. So this is a great time of you know, like getting fresh produce. The leaves are starting to change colors. I don't know about New York, but in Kansas City I've seen just a couple change. They're starting to head that way. So
we're actually having leaves falling too.
Oh, they're already falling. Wow. Yeah. So nature is also showing us this beauty around us. And in Ayurveda, it's actually the time of what I was just talking about, where we're going from one season to the next season. So we're getting more Vata energy right now. So Vata energy can be a little bit more anxious. So grounding practices and sitting in yourself, sitting in your own energy is going to be very, very important to continue for the rest of the year, to see where you've come from and what you can accomplish for the rest of the month. That is kind of what's going on energetically all around. It's also Virgo season right now. So Virgo season is really big into creating lists, into creating like goals and setting goals and making plans. And this is the perfect time. As we're recording this, the new moon was last night. So I know it'll be kind of a week late for you guys, but that's okay. It's still Virgo season. And that's the perfect time to manifest and to set your goals. It is a goal setting time of the year. And so we're kind of going to bring all of that together. And one ritual per se that you guys can do at home. It's going to be a modern ritual for the fall equinox or the autumn equinox, whatever you want to call it. So for those of you that don't know, the autumn equinox is actually on the 23rd, so it's just next week. So it's going to be very, very relevant to everybody's life right now. What you're going to do is you're going to sit outside if possible. And you're going to get physical objects that remind you of your achievements. So maybe before you actually, set up your intentions, you think and maybe journal and write down about all the achievements that you've accomplished this year, whether that's small achievements like you exercised more than you thought, or you did this thing that you thought was going to be so scary, but you accomplished it and you did it. Maybe it's you got a new car, maybe you got a new job, maybe you have a new relationship. Like there's so many things that have probably changed in your life over the last year if you just sit down and think about it. So maybe journal some out, pick your top 5, and then get physical objects that represent those 5 accomplishments, those 5 that mean the most to you. You're going to find a special place to set these 5 objects out. You're going to want a pen and a piece of paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to set your altar up somewhere with these 5 objects. You're going to start thinking and jotting down the most memorable parts, how that made you feel when you accomplished that, why that deserves preservation, why this is significant for the past year for you. You're going to set in that energy of accomplishment, of goals, of success, and just kind of write down everything that you can think of. You're going to then place this altar somewhere that you can prominently display, whether that's outside, whether that's inside, whether it's in your bedroom, whatever. So that way you can see it. And as you walk past it, you're reminded of your successes. You're reminded of your positive outlook for the year. A lot of times people like to have it with like yellow or orange or colors of the fall season as they are going through this process of building an altar. For those of you that have never built one before, but that's kind of what this process is just building a space that reminds you of all the positive things in your life. And then to keep that moving forward, right? So we've done this meditation, we've done this like deep thinking, we've gotten these 5 things that represent amazing stuff for us. So how do we keep it going? How do we keep that energy going then for the rest of the year? That's where a lot of people struggle. They'll be like, right, I had one really great day, but then how do I keep it going forward? And that's going to be intentional about bringing yourself back to center for the rest of the year as we're moving into this more yin energy. Yin is feminine. Yang is masculine. We're headed into this more yin feminine time where you're going to want to spend kind of that more introverted healing growth period for yourself and not for others. So that's kind of what you're going to want to focus on, is maybe trying to find a meditation routine. I've talked about meditation before. Meditation is actually one of my favorite things to talk about. It was my capstone project at K-State. So some meditation tips to do is maybe find a space where you feel safe and comfortable. I like to find light outside or inside, but I like to have lights around me, whether that's a flickering candle, whether that's dim lights, whether it's bright light. Everybody's different. Try to find a meditation pillow. If you can connect to ground, if you can connect to the source, where you can be rooted, that is where you're going to want to be. And then you want no distractions if possible. And some people are like, Dr. Kelsey, I can't meditate. I can't be in a quiet room. Well, you don't have to be in a quiet room. You can listen to a guided meditation. You could listen to music. I personally like alpha waves. That's what I studied to during school, so it's my go-to. But some people like Celtic music. Some people like piano. Some people like jazz. Find what makes you happy and play that music and listen to that vibration. Or maybe you're more of a visual person, so maybe you need to have a candle burning and watch that flame, and that flame then is what is able to bring you into center. Maybe you're a person that's more in your body, and if that's you, breathing's going to be important. So, taking deep breaths in, making sure that breath goes all the way into your stomach, trying to do maybe square breathing. So in for 4 counts, out, or hold for 4 counts, out for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, in for 4 counts. Maybe something like that would be beneficial for you. So there's definitely ways around trying to center yourself, to be in your body and not up here and around the universe and thinking about what needs to happen next. But what you need to do is be present in your body if possible. And then you're going to set that. Yeah.
Can you do a walking meditation? I've heard of some people doing like walking in the woods or, out in nature, and they kind of zone out and go into if you can't sit still, maybe, is that an option?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. Yeah. I recommend being in nature and not walking in the city somewhere and zoning out. That might not.
Or maybe doing qigong or, something.
Qigong is 100% meditative. Okay. The way of qigong, I actually just read it over this last month, and it was all about having an active body and a calm mind, and how that is a form of meditation. So 100%, you don't have to sit there, but it's important to ground into your body. That's the key. Whether that's, doing what I've said or finding your own new way to do such thing. That's what's important, is being present in your own body. Right. And from there, you're going to imagine all of your chakras in your body. You're going to imagine this warmth and this healing from Mother Earth. You're going to notice how you're breathing, notice how you feel. If you need to have thoughts, some people like to have guided thoughts as they are meditating. Have the thoughts of all the positivity that this year has brought about for you. Think about those 5 little totems that you're going to have on your altar. Think about all the positivity that you surround yourself with. Don't get in a negative spiral or something like that, but it's important to find what makes you happy. Find your joy. Close your eyes and sit in that joy. And then imagine where that joy is going for the rest of the year. That's also key, right? Don't be like, oh, this is done and over with, but this is still growing. I'm still growing. My soul is evolving, and it's going to be important for me to, sit in this energy and continue that motion forward. So what are your next steps? Where are your next goals? You've achieved this. Maybe you want to continue down that line, or maybe that's done. I did that thing. I'm so happy to have done that thing, but now here's my new goal. So sit in what you want your dream to feel like. Sit in, if you were having the perfect life and the perfect day with the perfect people around you, how would that feel? Don't think of faces, don't think of individual people, don't think of specific circumstances, but imagine how your body feels at its core when you're doing that thing. That is where the power of manifestation really comes in, and that is where you're going to get your drive to finish your goals for the rest of the year. So that is kind of my quick talking points about what fall means for us. It is a time of reaping what you've sowed, but also pushing forward through the winter months, because some people don't like winter months. They don't like the cold. They don't like that yin aspect of being more secluded, and that may be hard for you. And so it's going to be important that you can sit at peace with yourself and still continue that forward emotion through the more cold winter months. So as a recap, we're turning more yin. So yin is feminine, yin is nurturing. And it's time to nurture yourself with all of the, work that you've done throughout the summer. So with that, I'm going to take Dr. Karen with the acupuncture explanation.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kelsey. That was very enlightening. I really enjoyed that. Good. And we're also out of Mercury retrograde.
We are.
Yeah. So hopefully the electronics and technology will go a little smoother.
Yes.
Blame it on that, right?
Yes. Communication is now direct, which is good.
Right. So, as Dr. Kelsey mentioned, so this is the time of year where we're moving away from the yang energies of the elements of wood and fire, and we're moving into more yin energies of metal and water. So it's really time to start, as Dr. Kelsey said, going within, start thinking about storing our energy, reaping what we sowed and what we have built over the summer months. But we want to do it so we stay in good health, and it's an easy transition. We don't want to be jolting the body, from yang to yin, too fast, too harsh. So the thing with autumn, as the weather gets cooler, it's also dry. So this is a time of year that moistening is really important to stay in balance. In traditional Chinese medicine, autumn is associated with the metal element, and the lungs are the organ that's associated with this time of year, and as well as its paired organ, large intestine. So lung and large intestine are the two organs of focus we're going to be looking at. So as you know, the lungs open into the nose and the throat. It governs our voice. It gives us our respiration. It regulates water, passages. And it also is responsible for controlling the skin, moisturizing the skin, making sure it has enough moisture to it. So during this time of year, the lungs are very sensitive to cold and dryness. So a lot of people, if the metal element is out of balance, a lot of people can experience a dry nose or throat. They'll have a dry cough all of a sudden, or dry skin, chapped lips. So that's very common this time of year. Also, we see a lot of colds coming about, allergies, sinus issues, asthma. And those can all be conditions related to imbalance of the lungs. So as I said, lungs are paired with large intestine in Chinese medicine. So as everyone knows, the large intestine is responsible for receiving the digested food residue from the small intestine and then absorbing it in the large intestine. So we really, really need the proper lubrication of body fluids to make sure the function, everything's working properly, and you can move your bowels without problems. So large intestine really looks upon the lungs as well as the spleen and stomach for functioning properly. So if any of these organ functions are compromised at all, the function of the large intestine will be affected. So you can have abdominal pain or constipation or even loose stools if things are out of balance, out of whack. So there are a couple things we can do to regulate the lungs and large intestine. We can do it with diet and lifestyle changes. And I also just want to go over a few traditional Chinese medicine tips, just in general, to keep you healthy during the transition from late summer into fall. So as I said, autumn is governed by the metal element, and the taste associated with metal is pungent. So pungent foods, they're very similar to spicy foods, but they have a more aromatic and dispersant action that goes up and outwards. So it's really, really good to protect the lungs from pathogens entering in. It has that outward function. So pungent foods are kind of like ginger and horseradish, garlic, daikon, radish, turnips. Let me think what else. Wasabi.
Mustard.
Mustard, yes. Cabbage, things like that. Things, but you have to also be careful, because if you tend to have a lot of heat in the body, they may not be the best choice for you. You might want some more cooling and moistening foods, but most people can handle pungent foods pretty well. So it's important to get some pungent foods. Also, you want to increase your fluid intake and consume foods that are moistening. So things like sweet potatoes, tofu, mushrooms, spinach, barley. One of the great foods for moistening the lungs, keeping the lung function optimal, is pears and apples. Black sesame seeds are really good too, but they can help moisten lungs and large intestine. Any kind of seed or nut is really, they have a lot of oils in them, so they're really good for keeping the large intestine and lungs moistened. So let's say that you are experiencing some dry throat or a dry cough. You can make like a little sweet treat. So you can make some pears and honey, and you can take, it's preferable to use an Asian pear because they have more moisture content, but a regular American pear will work fine. But you can just coat that pear with a little honey and then steam it for about 15 minutes until it's tender, and just eat it with a spoon. So pears, I mean, and if you don't want to go through all that, you can eat canned pears, or you can just eat a raw pear. But pears are really good for moistening lungs. Like I mentioned, honey. So in Chinese medicine, honey is actually in the Materia Medica as an herb that relieves dryness and soothes cough and moistens the lungs specifically. And honey is great this time of year because it has natural antibacterial and antiviral properties as well. So it's good at preventing colds and flus, you know, everything going around this time of year. It's allergy season too. A lot of people have fall allergies. So if you do have or experiencing some congestion or stuffiness or symptoms from fall allergies, you can actually pair honey with green tea. That would be great. Green tea, as you know, is high in antioxidants, and it inhibits the release of histamine. So histamine is the chemical in the body that is released during an allergic reaction. So that's what gives you the stuffy nose and the sneezing and the itchy, watery eyes. So, so honey and green tea can be really beneficial this time of year if you're suffering from allergies or colds. Also, you can throw in some pears too.
Yeah.
If you're experiencing that or dryness in the throat, cough. So like I said before, lungs really rules respiration. And so if you're kind of sitting a lot, you have a sedentary lifestyle, that can contribute to poor respiration and sluggish elimination by the large intestine. So as you said earlier, Dr. Kelsey, like deep breathing exercises is great. Walking, just moving will help benefit the lungs and large intestine. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you don't have to go crazy or do anything ultra physical, just breathing and exercising those muscles, you know, those lungs. So, as I said earlier, the metal element, that's what we're focusing on in autumn, and the emotion associated with fall and metal is grief and sadness. Yeah. So grief is directly related to the lungs. So now is the time you really should take stock of everything and regroup, let go of the old, make room for the new. You know, it's a good idea to practice in the fall for the physical world as well as the emotional. So clean your closets, you know, organize your spaces, get ready for, you know, going within, staying home. You know, you want your space organized, free of clutter. So you'll be spending a lot more time at home, you know, in the upcoming months. So make it comforting and make it your space. But, you know, now's really a good time to declutter and reevaluate what no longer serves you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a great time of year as well to really, like I said before, with allergies, cold and flu season upon us, you really want to strengthen that immune system. So getting acupuncture on a regular basis is fantastic for boosting the immune system. And if you already have symptoms of fall allergies, it's great to keep those in check and to manage those symptoms. So acupuncture, herbs, things you can do at home for that. You can add some spices that you have in your cupboard, like chili peppers, cardamom, cinnamon, turmeric. You know, those are spices, things you can just add to your food or drink that will help. You know, a lot during the upcoming months as well. And then, you know, also you can see your, you know, your Chinese medical practitioner, and you can get, you know, some great formulas for seasonal allergies or colds or flus. There's some great antibacterial and antiviral formulas out there. And acupuncture is just great overall, just for boosting the immune system and just keeping up with the, you know, giving you energy. Also I wanted to mention, okay, so even though it's dry, it does get windy this time of year. So now is getting to be the time, the winds are picking up. So a lot of pathogens in Chinese medicine, according to Chinese medicine, enter in the back of the neck. We call that the wind gate. So if it's a super windy day, or you're in an area where there's a lot of drafts on your back, you know, it's a good time to like break out a fashionable scarf or put on your favorite turtleneck, or, you know, you just want to keep that area protected. So we want to keep pathogens out. Pathogens usually enter, you know, through the nose, mouth, or the back, the wind gate. So, so, you know, it's good to keep that, you know, covered. Well, not your nose and your mouth, but you know, the wind gate. But
yes,
you know, if you're outside though, and there's like a big wind coming, I try to keep my mouth shut too. You know, if you're and not just have it open. You know.
Yeah.
So you know, just use discretion. Perfect. If it's a super windy day.
It looks like we have 1 minute left.
Okay, so really quick, let's just do some acupressure points. Acupressure, so the first one's going to be lung 9, which is located on the wrist crease. And you want to do, it's on the radial artery, and you want to just press and rub that. That is the source point of the lung. So it means that it tonifies lung qi, and it will help with any kind of phlegm. And the second one is great for digestion and large intestine. It's CV6 or REN6, and it's 2-finger widths below the umbilicus. So that's great for digestion and fertility issues. So you can